I just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go from the Brickyard. Richie Joplin and Jeff Oakes on the front row. Robert Eggert and points leader Mark D'Antuma on the second row. Tim St. Jean and DJ the Iceman Kenner on the third row. Mike Zakar, Daryl Klotz on the fourth row. Stephen Lindner and Kevin Bruner round out the top 10. Ryan Warp starting in 11th next to John Shermotz in 12th. Gil Guac, Warren Moore 13th and 14th. Chuck Sweeting and Mike Burgess 15th and 16th. Larry Tittle and Jack Wilson round out the 18-car field here at Indy. Everybody stacked up on the grid. Pace car is rolling. Richie Joplin has stopped. He is rolling now at the back. Mike Burgess is on pit road. We know Richie had some technical difficulties when we were at the Chicago Street Circuit. Hopefully that is not the case here tonight. And they will extend the pace laps. Richie is rolling, coming up back to the front. Well, an interesting turn of events here early. Those two cars on the outside line up front. Jeff Oakes in the blue and white car and D'Antuma in the green Xbox car. Both of those drivers are battling for the championship. Jeff Oakes comes into the night 1 point behind D'Antuma. And D'Antuma is blinking. So they'll get one more pace lap here at Indy. A bit of an oddity, but they do get everybody squared away. Drivers are looking at 10 to 13 laps on a tank of fuel. Given the 40 laps in this race, I do expect to see a couple of drivers at least hitting those stops right on that 10 lap mark every time. Fuel and fresh tires a few laps earlier than the guys who'll try and stretch it could be huge. Also, as we talked about a few moments ago during qualifying, Tim St. Jean starting in 5th. We usually see Tim starting tail end of the field. He usually does not qualify and will march up through the field into the top 5, starting up front. Those guys ahead of him might want to worry. Track temperature has dropped about 10 degrees since practice and qualifying. They'll get a little more power and quite a bit more grip. In the short chute between 3 and 4, we're going racing this time. go, Pete. All right, here we go. Pace car dives to pit road. Barney stands ready. Up in the flag stand. The green flag flies. They are underway at Indy. Mike Burgess is rolling on pit road. Richie Joplin clears into the lead. Jeff Oakes just needs to keep Mark Dantuma back behind. Be keeping a close eye on the 81 as Tim St. Jean, and see how far he comes here tonight. Another one to watch who's very good at saving tires, especially on these flat tracks. DJ the Iceman Kinner, there in the purple and white car. And of course, you can't count out Brian Warp back there in the 23. Jeff Oakes is on pit road. What in the world? One of the championship contenders is on pit road after lap 1. He doesn't have any damage. Did he get a penalty? Hey, good evening, David. How are you? Jeff Oakes hits his pit stall. He is not going up for tires or fuel. This has to be a penalty. And I can't imagine what the penalty was for. Richie Joplin leads lap 1. Robert Eggert in second. Mark Dantuma now in third. And here comes the Iceman up into fourth. Everybody going single file in the early going. Jeff Oakes still sitting on pit road, though it looks like he's about to go. Now he's away. Harold Quads back in 6th, has the fastest lap so far. Last time by, Klotz up 2 spots into 6th. Chuck Sweeting was fastest in practice. Chuck already up 4 spots into 11. Chuck, another driver, does not qualify, but if he ever decides to start qualifying, the rest of the field is going to be in trouble. Harold Klotz on the move, passes him into turn 3. Klotz now up to 3rd. And Ryan Warp has the fastest lap now. Ryan already up 3 spots into 8. Gil Glock up 4 spots into 9. And Chuck Sweeting up 5 spots into 10. Meanwhile, points leader Mark Dantuma has fought his way up to 2nd, but the Iceman is right there with him. You don't have to worry about Darrell Klotz lurking right behind. Chuck Sweeting now up into 10th, closing the gap on Gil Glock. Richie Joplin had a bit of a lead for a moment, but Dantuma is closing in with the Iceman on his bumper. doing real life racing up north. Looked a little bit loose, coming into the short chute, holds on to it. Robert Eggert now back in sixth, the car in seventh. Chuck Sweeting has moved up into ninth and is closing on Ryan Warp. At the moment, Chuck is the fastest car on track. Lap time starting to slow just a little bit. And it looks like the Iceman got stuck on the outside. He has slipped back to fourth. Klotz now up into third. Jim St. Jean has pulled up, back up into fifth. Folks, one of the championship contenders, a lap down at the moment. He has got to hope for a caution here soon. Chuck Sweeting now at 6 spots into ninth and is closing out on the bumper. Ryan Ward and Mike's the car. Chuck's still the fastest car on track. 8 laps in, lap times are starting to slow. Tire wear starting to show. Chuck Sweeting does not appear to be affected by any of this. Surprisingly, no snaking down the long straights. So far, we will likely see it late in the race. When drivers are trying to break the draft of the car back behind, Ryan Ward making a move. Ryan looking underneath, finds the car into turn one. The car holding on for the moment into turn two. Car man advantage on the exit, but it doesn't matter. Warp takes it. Ryan now to 7th. Richie Joplin has a 0.4 of a second lead. Martin Antuma is inching closer. And speaking of inching closer, these drivers with the tire wear already taking effect are starting to get awfully close to the wall. And they exit a turn 2 and turn 4. Martin Antuma being kind enough to show us just how close he can get. Jack Wilson is on pit road. He'll be the first driver in for pit stops. Really surprised we didn't see more drivers in last time by. And here we go. The Iceman is in. Tim St. Jean, Ryan Warp. Looks like Gil Walk is coming. The first green flag stops of the night are underway. Richie Joplin, Mark Dantuma still there together. Darrell Klotz now in third. Robert Eggert in fourth. Mike Zakar in fifth. Chuck Sweeting in sixth. Has caught up to Zakar. Likely to see a lot of these guys in this time. They did say they can go 13, but this is not a track you want to push it. But apparently they are going to push it. Darrell Klotz and Mike Zakar are in. Oh, Mike had a little problem, but gets it wound up. Stephen Lindner, Warren Moore, and John Shermont also on pit road. Richie continues to lead. Mark Dantuma right behind him. The top seven have not been to pit road yet. And here they come. Richie Joplin, Mark Dantuma, and Robert Eggert. Chuck Sweeting, Kevin Brunner, all in. Larry Tittle on his way in. And Mike Burgess brings it in. That should complete the cycle of stops. Tim St. Jean down into turn 3. Looks like Tim St. Jean and Gil Walk both took fuel only on their stops. The rest of the field taking tires as the Iceman goes by. Moving DJ up into third, but Tim St. Jean is going to take the lead. Mark Dantuma appears to have had problems on pit road. He has slipped back into 10th place. The top championship contenders tonight having problems, but Richie Joplin is coming back in. There is some weirdness on track tonight, but that definitely helps Tim St. Jean. His lead over the Iceman, now 1.7 seconds. But DJ does have 4 fresh tires and is closing in. Gil Glock still holding on to third. Ryan Warp in fourth. Mike Zakar in fifth. Chuck Sweeting right behind in sixth. Richie Joplin coming back out on track. He is now back in 15th. That gives us a handful of drivers hoping for a caution. It may never come. And the Iceman has caught the leader. And DJ Kenner will take the lead. The Iceman back out front already, pulling away. Gil Walk back in third, now 10 spots. Ryan Warp up to fourth, up 7 spots. Mike Zakar up 2 spots into fifth. Chuck Sweeting up 9 spots into sixth. Gil Walk gets a run. He'll take second. Ryan Warp goes through the open door to take third. Tim St. Jean, remember, did not take tires on that first stop. Meanwhile, the Iceman out front has a 1.8 second lead over Gil Guap. And Ryan Warp has a run for second. Ryan Warp takes second. He is now 2 seconds behind the Iceman. Mike Zakar right on Gil's bumper in fourth. Oh, Gil gets a little squirrely out of 2. Art Dantuma now up into 9th place. But if the race stays green right now, Dantuma would pick up a lot of points. Richie Joplin back in 15th, and Jeff Oates back in 17th. Both drivers having problems here early tonight. Chuck Sweeting goes for fourth. He'll take it. Mike Burgess is on pit road. This is definitely an unexpected stop. Trying to reel in the Iceman is 1.9 seconds back. Meanwhile, Mike Zakar and Chuck Sweeting are getting closer. Gil Guap still holding on to fifth, but Robert Eggert running him down. And Eggert has a run down the back straightaway into 3. Robert Eggert goes to 5th. Jack Wilson is officially out of the race. Mike Burgess still on pit road. Laps to go at the Brickyard. They are closing in on their second pit stop of the night. Folks, don't forget, right after the race, come back about 5 minutes after the race. The Unicorn will be a trucking. I think she may already be at it at the moment. Tune in and have a few laps. Chuck Sweeting still in fourth, right behind Zakar. Chuck now up 11 spots into fourth. He has had all the speed tonight and is playing the strategy perfectly. DJ's lead is now open, back up to a full 2 seconds. As here comes Sweeting down to the inside, onto the car for third. Doug Sweeting now securely in third, sets his sights on second place, Ryan Warp. And at the moment, Sweeting is the fastest car on track. Chuck Sweeting in third is just about caught up to Ryan Ward. Warren Moore is trying to pull into the top 10. Battling with John Shermont's Warren finally clears him into turn 3. Tim St. Jean, we saw him slipping back earlier, is now back into 9th place. Hopefully he'll take tires on the next stop, and we'll see him charge back toward the front. Should start seeing some drivers in this time. Chuck Sweeting just took second from Ryan Warp as the Iceman goes in. Ryan Warp heads in. Yoke Walk is in as Sweeting leads for the first time tonight. Robert Eggert had a run on the car, couldn't quite get there. He's looking again. This time he may get it. Eggert gets a run out of turn 2. And Robert Eggert to second. The car may try and make the move into 3. Can't get far enough into the turn. Sweeting is going to continue to stay out. Mike Zakar is in. Robert Eggert, Kevin Bruner, and Mark Dantuma will stay out. Hey, good evening, Russell. Richie had a rough start. Tim St. Jean on his way out. Warren Moore is on his way out. Jeff Oakes has not come in yet. And Sweeting is going to go another lap. Robert Eggert gives up second. Kevin Bruner coming in. Steven Lindner heads in as well. And Richie Joplin is on his way in for his second stop. Guac currently the first car 1 lap down. He has completed his second stop. Should be back on the lead lap here now, as here comes Sweeting to pit road. Mark Dantuma heads in. Larry Tittle currently in third. He is on his way in. DJ Kenner has already completed his stop. He was leading prior to the pit stops. Heads off into turn 3. It's going to be close as the Iceman comes out of turn 4. Chuck Sweeting has begun rolling off pit road. There's Sweeting coming out. I think the Iceman will get by. DJ Kenner back to the lead. Sweeting coming out in second. Ryan Warp goes by. Chuck Sweeting now to third, Zakar in fourth. Robert Eggert in fifth. Mark Dantuma comes out in sixth. Kevin Bruner in seventh. Gil Guac in eighth. John Shermans in ninth. Tim St. Jean in 10th. DJ Speed now 2.5 seconds over Ryan Warp. Chuck Sweeting in third, about 1.4 seconds back. Mike Zakar in fourth, Robert Eggert in fifth. Mark Dantuma in sixth, Bruner in seventh, Gil Guac in eighth. Tim St. Jean has just taken ninth, putting Shermans back in 10th. Now everybody is in range to make those final stops. And doing the math, Chuck Sweeting and Mark Dantuma may not have to make a final fuel stop. They said 10 to 13 laps on a tank of fuel. Same with Larry Tittle, may not need a stop. They all stopped on lap 27, so we'll see. They may not need to come back in. Jeff Oaks may also will not need to come in. Daryl Klotz back in 15th. Really looked like Klotz was going to have one heck of a night in the early going. But he has had some setbacks. It has hurt. Chuck Sweeting in third, now just 0.8 of a second behind Ryan Ward. Mark Dantuma is closing in quickly on Robert Eggert. In fact, at the moment, Dantuma is the fastest car on track. And Gil Guac has come in. Is this his final stop? And will he take tires or fuel only here? We may be about to see some of the strategy play out here. Gill hits his pit stall. Right sides are up. He is taking tires and fuel. These final stops will be a determining factor of how this race turns out. Chuck Sweeting is just about to Ryan Warp's bumper. Mark Dantuma just a car length behind Robert Eggert. Mike Zakar holds on to fourth. Gil Glock on his way back out. And Gil Glock took right sides only on his stop. Be interesting to see how that plays out. The Iceman is in. We knew he would need some fuel. He is on his way down to top off. That'll give the lead to Ryan Warp. I do believe it's his first time out front tonight. And he's got Chuck Sweeting right on his bumper. Mike Zakar in third, Mark Dantuma in fourth, Robert Eggert in fifth. With 7 laps to go, we are about to see which fuel strategy works tonight. Richie Joplin back in 8th and qualified up front. That first pit stop, something went wrong. He had to come back in. That has been a huge setback. Hey, good evening, Aaron Brown. How are you? Here we go. Chuck Sweeting looks low for the lead. Ryan tries to fight back. Up top, can't get him. Chuck Sweeting goes to the lead. Mark Dantuma just in third place. Back behind. Mike Zakar in fourth. Ryan Warp is in for his final stop. Got Chuck Sweeting and Mark Dantuma and Larry Tittle back in 11th are the 3 cars we know can make it from their fight. They will not have to come back in again. Everybody else will have to make one more stop. Chuck Sweeting has a 2 1/4 second lead over Dantuma. Mark has pulled 1 second away from Zakar. And man, what a heartbreaker for Tim St. Jean. His first time qualifying this season, qualified in 5th. Looked like he was going to have an amazing run here tonight. John Shermont has come in for his final stop. Chuck Sweeting comes down, gets 3 to go. This is only Sweeting's 3rd race of the season. He's already won 1. He's going to go, if he can hold on, he'll go 2 for 3 here tonight. Mark D'Antuma came in tonight with the points lead. Tonight will be a huge points night. Both Jeff Oakes and Richie Joplin, 2 of his top points contenders, have had problems early. Huge night for D'Antuma. Mike Zakor is in. DJ Kenner slipped back into 10th place. Ryan Warp right behind in 11th. Darrell Klotz has not been in yet. Several in the top 10 have not come in. 2 laps to go. And here he comes. The white flag flies. One more time around for Chuck Sweeting. His 3rd race of the season, headed for his 2nd win of the season. A 2 1/4 second lead as he comes out of turn 2. Mark D'Antuma back behind in 2nd. Robert Eggert now in 3rd. Chuck Sweeting has been the fastest car all night. He has been the dominant car and pulled the perfect strategy. He did the race on 2 stops, and here he comes. Chuck Sweeting will get his 3rd win of the season at the Brickyard. Mark D'Antuma comes home in 2nd and extends his points lead. Robert Eggert coming home in 3rd. One of his best finishes of the season. And we'll get a word with our top 3 here in just a moment. But folks, don't forget, right after the broadcast, you can come back and see the Unicorn trucking. Let's talk to our top 3. Robert, man, a great race, a great podium. I think your best finish of the season. You managed to keep it out of trouble. I know you lost some ground early, but, man, you got it done when it counted.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I was saving some tires and fuel that first stint, and I kind of messed up the second stint. Could have gone an extra lap, but for some reason I had in my head it was a 50-lap race, so I was trying to make it on 13 laps a stint, and if I had to go on one more lap, I could have maybe raced them in that last stint.
Well, man, it still was great strategy. You could definitely tell the guys who were planning early. You guys dropped back early on, but you were there when it counted. A great job and a great finish tonight, buddy.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mark D'Antuma coming home in 2nd. Never gonna happen, Pete. Mark, you come home on the podium, but more importantly, with problems back behind, you extend that points lead in a big way.
Yeah, I saw Jeff had a problem there at the start there. I think he got a black flag, and then Richie's problem with a black flag exiting pits. So that kind of took the pressure off, but I got caught up in a glitch there where it wouldn't change my tires at first and lost a little track position.
I was wondering what happened. There were several of you that had problems on pit road tonight, but you still managed to make the best of it and come home on the podium. But, man, it looked like on the final lap you were finally starting to close on Chuck, just not enough to get there.
Yeah, he might have just been saving a little so he'd have enough for burnouts, but congrats to him. It was a good win for him.
Well, man, great job. Another great podium and a big, big points help tonight. Congratulations.
Thanks, Doug.
Well, Thanos, I hope you're okay. Unfortunately, it does not look like we're going to get a word with our winner, Chuck Sweeting. But a big congratulations to Chuck, pulling off his second win of the season. Guys, don't forget, come back in about 5 minutes and tune in to see the Unicorn Trucking. It's definitely going to be a fun night. Thank you guys so much for being here. We'll see you in a few. Have a great night, everybody.